Hello again. You really want to listen to this one. You know, it's T-Path that put this together. I did a video a couple of days ago on Rush Limbaugh. That was also done by T-Path. And this is titled The Saunders Syndrome. And there's a photograph of someone picking the pocket of another individual. Socialism, fair to all? ? Commentary by T-Path senior contributor Roseanne Salatieri. This was dated February the 7th, 2016. To be sure, this has been a very interesting election cycle. It seems that every type of character, from the most self-proclaimed conservative to the most self-proclaimed socialist, have thrown their proverbial hats into the ring. At times, it's been almost hard to differentiate some of the political ideologies from their competitors, with the exception of one, Senator Bernie Saunders. Say what you want about his misguided politics. The man is perhaps one of the most truthful candidates in this election cycle. You know exactly where he stands, and to his branch of the establishment, but can be disturbing as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are to those on the other side of the political spectrum. All of these anti-establishment candidates are drawing large crowds, as should be expected in a day and age when the establishment has failed. However, Senator Saunders' ability to draw crowds deviates substantially from the anti-establishment Trump or Cruz, both of whom want to restore America to her former greatness. Saunders, on the other hand, wants to continue to transform America into something that would be unrecognizable to our founders. Therefore, this constitutional-loving writer finds his growing popularity most disturbing. It is not only anti-establishment, it is anti-American. And it is drawing record crowds of clueless supporters. As most of you know, Saunders describes himself as a Democrat socialist. Webster's definition for socialism is, quote, a way of organizing a society in which major industries are owned and controlled by the government rather than by individual people and companies, end quote. While it may seem that socialism can include some kind of democratic thread, that thread is likely to be only temporary, since the government's power to control commodities and ultimately property will soon control all aspects of our lives, including any threads of democracy, and we are foolish enough to believe are at all disposal. Our founders understood this clearly when they wrote the Declaration of Independence. To them, the phrase pursuit of happiness actually meant the ownership of property and the right to be able to pursue your own destiny, unencumbered by government regulations. The throngs exalting Bernie Saunders do not understand, appreciate, or support this philosophy of government. They have a naive and narrow concept that believes that government has the right to take what someone has worked for, to give it to someone else as they see fit. And all in the name of fairness. They are totally ignorant of the fact that in order to do this, gross unfairness is exercised upon the person that is being robbed. Somehow or another, they have managed to turn a blind eye to the mischief their ideology comports. This democratic socialist idea, should it overtake and consume our liberties, will prove to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. And once the sheep's clothing is discarded, the wolf that is revealed will voraciously devour our prosperity and all the freedom generations before us have fought to preserve. It is not a new historical phenomenon that freed people are willing to surrender their freedom for the illusionary comforts of slavery. When Moses had successfully led the people out of the chains of Egypt into freedom, after seeing miracle after miracle, the freed slaves expressed a desire to go back to Egypt rather than stand on faith when they saw Pharaoh's army approaching. In Exodus 14:12, they said, quote, "It is not the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, 'Let us alone,' they may have served the Egyptians, for it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness? Question mark. The Saunders syndrome is similar in the sense that freedom and facing the unknown can be daunting for some, even in the aftermath of great success. Consequently, they would choose to have less and suffer bondage rather than have the responsibility of working on behalf of their own prosperity. For them, it is less frightening to be owned and cared for than to be independent and self-reliant. In modern America, the socialistic philosophies that Saunders' throngs embrace have also been birthed by a generation that has been spoiled and given all they desire without any contribution on their behalf, resulting in an entitlement philosophy akin to narcissism. This type of narcissism is the product of overindulgence and an educational system that promotes entitlements as fairness through rewriting history and communistic indoctrination. It further supports us through the handouts of participation, trophies, and free lunches that eliminate competitive accomplishments and the idea that the government is responsible for our subsistence. Hence, we have raised a generation of dependent wimps that believe they are entitled to something someone else has worked for. They see the ambitious and the competitiveness as nether rounds and are a plate on the desired pleasantness of utopia. These are those that make up the throngs of Saunders supporters, and these are more to be feared for the future of America than any evil jihadist or the criminally incompetent Hillary Clinton. For should this continue, our demise is certain at their hands, regardless of who wins the election in 2016. For it's just a matter of time before they run out of money and in the process destroy the American dream. Lincoln once said that the philosophy in the classroom of one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. Saunders supporters surely are a testament to this truth. We have sat by unaware of what has been transpiring in Americans' classroom, and now we are shocked that an openly committed socialist is gaining in the polls. If we truly understood that this is the canary in the coal mine of America, we would be shaking with fear over the inevitable loss of liberty and freedom, and this canary is indicating. We may be able to stem off the latest assault against our republic by electing the right person in 2016. But unless we restore sanity in our classrooms, our demise as a nation is surely predictable. Now, I just posted a video and I spoke about Jeanette Neapolitano. And I said in that video and in previous videos on that same topic, that is exactly why she was chosen. Listen to this. Lincoln once said, the philosophy in the classroom of one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. That's exactly why she's there. She's polluting the minds of all California university students. And she's been doing it for a number of years. This is why we've got this phenomena going right now for Saunders. And you know who created all this? The chosen one. It was part of his plan. Barack Hussein Obama transformed America, and it'll never be restored to what it once was. It can't be. We've got generations of students that have been brainwashed, and it's proven to work, and it's happening all across the country. The majority of your professors are liberals. They're liberals. And what do you think they're doing to the minds of your children? They're creating these monsters. Obama created this mass number of people that are dependent on the government, and it's not going to stop. Bernie Saunders is honest, but he's clinically insane, as I believe is Hillary Clinton. The only salvation that this country might have is by putting a sane president. And there's only one, I think, sane president in the mix. And it's not Marco, and it's not Teddy. It's the Donald. You know what I think? You know what Roseanne thinks? You know what Teapath thinks? The question now is, what do you think? Thanks for listening. I hope you listen. I'll also attach a hard copy or a link to a hard copy. Thanks for standing by.